So obviously in my business, when developing myself and the people that work with me, we want to move from the emotional mind to the rational and wise mind. So pause this video when you just read through those traits of each. To handle difficult clients, to handle difficult situations, to develop new products and groundbreaking products, we need a wise and rational mind. And this also starts at home. To be a great marriage partner, a great father or mother, you need a rational and wise mind. Look at this content in these next few minutes.
Trevor, how many times do I have to tell you? She's a narcissist. This is the third toxic relationship you've been in this year. If only you understood the laws of human nature according to Robert Greene.
Girls are really sweet. Girls
No, girls are not sweet. Girls are not sweet. Whoever told you that, don't be naive. A lot of women are crazy. A lot of women are conniving. A lot of them are great actors in real life. They will portray a certain image and they will suck you in to a reality that doesn't even exist.
Yeah.
You know, they will lie to you, they'll play you, they'll manipulate situations, and they'll emotionally manipulate you. Let me put a disclaimer here, guys. I'm not speaking about everyone. This is just general. That's all. There are obviously women who are great and girls who are great. But there are a lot of girls who, if you say no, they want it even more.
Yeah.
1. The law of rationality. You like to think that you are in control of your life, that you have an accurate view of the world. But beware, your emotions are powerful. They cause you to react instead of think, to see the world based on how you feel, not how it actually is. To become more rational, first become aware of your emotional self in action, then examine your emotion to their roots. Why do you pick up that joint, even though you know it makes you lazy and is holding you back from your goals? Thirdly, increase your reaction time by taking a step back. That might mean putting the joint down and taking a deep breath.
Just a quick insight here into changing bad behaviors. Like this gentleman mentioned, smoking marijuana, or if it's losing weight, or if it is working on your aggression, whatever kind of behavior you want to change, there's something called an extinction burst, which means when you're trying to put that behavior to death, that behavior has foundations that have been laid down over periods of time that are difficult to break. So there's an extinction burst. It flares to life. And for you to break any habit, he's now talking here, you'll hear about relationships, habits in relationships. You will have to put in extra effort to first break those entrenched, let's call it strongholds of that bad habit. So it will get far worse, let's not say far worse, it will get worse before it gets a lot better and then disappears. But just hold on, keep pushing through that pain.
If you want to change a behavior within your relationship, especially that behavior has been long-standing, what you'll experience is what's called an extinction burst. An extinction burst is an intensification of the exact behavior you're trying to extinguish as a means of trying to put more influence on maintaining the status quo. So it's very hard to break out of the status quo because when most people attempt to change, they experience this extinction burst, which can be really overwhelming. You really can't go about trying to change your relationship until you are very prepared to weather the emotional storm that is almost certainly going to result from changing the reinforcement protocols of that relationship. But if you're willing to do that, do this intentionally, ideally with a therapist or a coach, and you focus simply on changing how you show up in the relationship, and that's going to force some kind of change in your system.
To become more rational, first become aware of your emotional self in action. Then examine your emotion to their roots. Why do you pick up that joint, even though you know it makes you lazy and is holding you back from your goals? Thirdly, increase your reaction time by taking a step back. That might mean putting the joint down and taking a deep breath. And when it comes to other people, accept them for their irrational nature instead of trying to change them. That just leads to emotional chaos. These 4 things allow the rational mind to balance out the irrational mind so you can make better decisions. 2. The law of narcissism. The amount of self-love you have falls on a spectrum. If you have too much, you become toxic and self-absorbed. There's been a rise in narcissistic traits in young people since the 1970s, with a spike since 2000, possibly due to social interaction happening more online. Green encourages turning self-absorption into empathy for others. This can only be achieved by in-person interaction. Yes, that means putting down the phone, getting out of your house, and talking to real humans. 3. The law of role-playing. You put on a mask that puts you in the best possible light. So do your friends. Just look at their lives on Instagram compared to what it's really like. You can use this awareness to better your ability at reading through the masks of others, and also how to present yourself in the best light to get what you want, like when a job interview, for example. To get good at reading through others' masks and putting on one that benefits you in the right situations, it essentially comes down to understanding body language, which is a topic for another video. 4. The law of compulsive behaviour. You have a set character. It's formed based on your early childhood and daily habits. Resisting it makes it worse. You can't completely change your character, but you can mitigate its effects. For example, you may have a tendency to please people. You might suck at a job where you have to fire people, but be awesome at being a waiter. Use your character to your advantage. 6. The law of short-sightedness. By default, you care more about the present than you do about the future. Big Pharma takes advantage of this trait in you by selling you cures, not preventatives. Who wants to think about the consequences of a donut and a cigarette when it's right in front of you, ready to treat you to a delicious dopamine high and an instant release of stress? But know that every successful person you look up to will tell you they quit doing the little things that feel good now in order to reap a sweeter reward later. 7. The law of defensiveness. We like to feel we are independent. That's why we become defensive when others try to change us. But if you're too defensive, you could be holding yourself back from growing. Remain open-minded. If you want to influence someone who is defensive, Green suggests you transform into a deeper listener, infect people with the proper mood, confirm their self-opinion, allay their insecurities. 8. The law of self-sabotage. You may sabotage yourself because of a negative attitude. It holds you back from living the life of your dreams. Thankfully, your attitude can be changed by consciously deciding, or it may take a significant life event. Personally, I've struggled with shifting my perspective in an instant. What has helped me is doing actions that I know are positive even if I don't feel like it. Like going for a walk. And then doing as many of those actions as I can, as often as I can. For you, it might take a snap of the fingers or a significant life event to change. 9. The law of repression. Have you ever been standing on a cliff with your friend and felt the odd desire to push them off? Welcome to the dark side. We all have a dark side. Green shares the story of how President Lincoln would write anonymous letters to newspapers attacking politicians. He developed an enemy that went mad with rage and challenged him to a duel. He withdrew and did the right thing by directing his dark energy into winning debates and elections for the good of humanity.
So let's read here a very interesting story about what this man calls the dark side. The Bible calls it human nature, or the sinful nature within people. So listen to this story. An old Cherokee told his grandson, "My son, there is a battle between two wolves inside all of us. One evil, it is anger, jealousy, greed, resentment, inferiority, lies, and ego. The other is good, it is joy, peace, love, hope, humility, kindness, empathy, and truth." The boy thought about it and asked his grandfather, "Which wolf wins?" The old man quietly replied, "The one you feed." Stop feeding evil, stop feeding hatred, anger, start practicing discipline, controlling yourself, exercise, eating right, reading and learning and watching the right content. Move away from people who bring the worst out in you. Where you become the worst version, they bring out anger and jealousy. They do evil, wicked, wrong things to you that makes you into a person you don't want to be. Go to people that develop you and make you the best version and bring out happiness, joy, energy, that infuse you with excitement and always encourage you. Feed the right wolf in your life.